Hey guys, welcome back into the channel. It's your girl Jasama here. I will be reviewing for the second time the Wire versus the Electric palette by Urban Decay. I tried to film this video yesterday, but I had some technical difficulties with this palette. Literally, that was my first time using the palette, so I don't know if it was just me or what, but let's see. My full review on these two palettes will be at the end of this tutorial, so if you're interested in seeing take two on the Wire and Electric palette from Urban Decay, then stay tuned and let's get into this. First, I'm going to take my Sony Catholic Beauty Sponge and my translucent powder and press that all into my eyebrows and all over my face just to absorb the moisturizer I laid down before starting this tutorial. Then I'm going to take my eyebrow brush and just brush my hairs going in an upward motion and just get that to my desired liking. I like my eyebrows to look pretty fluffy, so that's why I kind of go in. Next, I'm going to take my eyebrow pencil from Wet n Wild and I'm going to follow the line of my natural eyebrow, and then I'm going to brush the hairs going upward in a hair-like stroke. Then once I do that, I will fill over the top and then gently fill in my eyebrows. After I'm done doing that, I kind of arch my eyebrow and then I clean up the bottom of my eyebrow, just getting it into the shape that I want it to be. At this point, I'm going to take my P. Louise primer in 02 and I'm going to blank out the color on my eyelid, just because this is going to be some really bright shadows and I want the shadows to show up through the pan. So I'm going to just spread that all over my eye and just make it even and smooth and a nice base for me to work with. And just remember, what you do with one eye, you're definitely going to do to the other, and you can just see me just going in and taking whatever product it is and just evenly distributing that product all over me. Now it's time to get into the Wire palette in all its glory. I first go in with the color Shock and I use a tapping motion to get that color to start appearing on my eye. And it kind of took me a while to build up this color, so I kind of went back into the palette a couple times to build up the color to my desired liking. And I'll kind of let you guys watch because it took a while to blend this purple into my eyelid to get it where I want it to be. Next, I go into my Anastasia Soft Glam palette and pick up that light orange shade, and I kind of blend that into my crease to start transitioning into the next colors I want to go into. But once I did that, I kind of saw that the orange kind of disappeared, so I went back in with the purple and then I went back in with the orange. So you kind of see me going back and forth, patting this color in. Just to make that soft blended look, I'm going to have to keep on going back and forth in between the Wire palette and the Anastasia palette just to get this color to where I wanted it to be, because I noticed every time I laid down the orange, the purple kind of disappeared on me for some reason and it was giving me a hard time. So that's why you see me kind of going back and forth in between that orange shade from the Anastasia palette and the purple shade, just building up the ends of my eyes to the color I want it to be. At this point, I'm going to go into Slow Burn in the Wire palette and I'm going to concentrate that more on the end of my eyelid, building up that wing and the intensity of that color. Going back and forth, really just building up that bold orange, and you can see that like the purple kind of still disappears on me, so I go back into Shock and I try to blend the color Shock into those oranges just so that we can have that smooth blend and transition between the purples and the oranges. And you can see me taking Shock and really concentrating that on the wing of my eye. I'm just going to kind of let you guys watch at this point and you can just see me blending these colors together. Since I was experiencing so much chalkiness with the purple, it really made the light orange from the Anastasia palette really kind of disappear on me, so I decided to go back in and bring in that light orange just so I could build up the color and make it look the way I really want it. And you can see me using a pulling motion to bring in that orange into the purple so that they could be married together and not like a harsh demarcation between the two colors. Once I lay that down, I go back into the wire and pick up Slow Burn and bring that back into the crease, building up that intensity to where I want it. Honestly, the wire palette definitely has some chalkiness to its shadows and kind of doesn't stay as vibrant and as strong as you really want it. It really took me a long time to really build up these colors to where I really wanted them to be for this eye look. It took a lot of blending, as you can tell if you watch. And I'm just going to let you guys continue watching and see me blend out this shadow and making these colors seamless. At this point, I just realized that's the best the colors are going to get, and I go back into my P. Louise primer and start taking a tapping motion from the tear duct of my eye to the middle of my lids to cut the crease. And once I get that line as sharp as I want, I'll take a little pulling motion and to cut the remainder of my crease. And then at this point, I take the P. Louise primer and blank out the rest of my eyelid. Usually I actually use a trick of Vaseline or makeup wipes to clean the surface of my eyelids so that the color from the shadows don't mix in. But I totally forgot when I was doing this. I think it just took so much blending from the other parts that I just forgot my other steps of doing my eyeshadow, but it worked, and that's only because I'm very experienced at cutting my crease. So if you have a hard time cutting your crease and the colors of your shadow is mixing into your concealer, then try out the Vaseline trick. It's really helpful. And at this point, I'm gonna let you guys watch me cut out my crease because I really did keep this in real time so you guys can see how long it actually takes to cut out your crease and make a perfect sharp line. Also, here's a pro tip for cutting out your crease. Once you get your crease to your desired liking, the concealer is going to be pretty wet, so you're going to want that concealer to dry down before you put your shadows on, or else your shadows are going to look very patchy and damp in some places, and it's just going to make them look very icky. So once you cut your crease, always remember to let the concealer dry down. At this point, I got my concealer to where I want it to be, so I'm going to go back into that Anastasia palette and pick up that orange shade and start blending it back into the back of my eye. Just starting to create that color scheme all over again, and I'm just going to go in with tapping motions just to build up that color. Then I'm going to go in with Slow Burn from the Wire palette, and I'm going to pick up that color and just put that in with my pencil brush, just creating a shadow of that Slow Burn color and blending it into that orange from the Anastasia palette, just creating a nice seamless line. At this point, I'm going to go into Switch, and I'm going to take tapping motion and just fill in my eyelid with that color, because that's supposed to be the main piece of the crease. So I'm just trying to tap, tap, tap that color in, and I drag it through the top of the lid so that it can gently transition into the back of Slow Burn and the purple, making it look like a soft sunrise orange look. At this point, I was still dealing with some chalkiness from the colors, so I went back into Slow Burn and built that up to the front of the orange color I just laid down. Then I went back into that orange and I dragged it further out, just, blending it. And honestly, you guys can pretty much watch the rest of this because it's all about blending and going in. At this point, I kind of noticed I wanted to put some white in there so that it could be a little bit soft, but I go back in and cover some of that white with the orange so that it kind of makes the orange look a little bit soft and creamy than just like that stark bright pale orange. And you can see I'm still struggling to keep the shock color on my eye, so I'm kind of just blending that in. Now that I got my eyes to my liking, I'm going to go in and do my foundation. I'm not really going to talk heavily about what I really put on my face today because I do have a full foundation routine on my page, and you can click the link above if you would like to see what I do. But from here on, you can just enjoy until I get back to the eyes. While my under eye is big, I like to go in with my under eye color, and I'm going to use Shock and drag that all through my lid and finish off the look. Tell me I'm not the biggest nincompoop ever, you guys. I totally finished the look off camera thinking I was filming the whole time. I literally put some glitter under my eye, I did my wing, I put my lashes on, hopefully you got that, put my bottom mascara on, I put some yellow in. I don't know where I filmed, where I stopped filming, why I didn't. Highlight, of course, and I'll come back to my lips and then we can talk about what I think about this wire palette. Look, I did my hair off camera as normal. Let's get into what we're here for today. So we're going to compare the electric palette to the wire palette. Like I said before, this look yesterday, not this exact look, I filmed a different look, and honestly, like, I just wasn't really satisfied with how my makeup turned out. They're almost exactly the same. The packaging is just a little bit sleeker on the wire palette, and the electric palette is a little bit bigger. The wire palette does not come with a brush. The electric palette, when it first came out, it did come with a brush, one of those flimsy brushes that you just kind of throw away and you don't ever keep. Some of the colors in the palettes are exactly the same. Some of them have the same name. Now for pigmentation and the skipping, I just feel like I put this lilac purple on the back of my eye. It took me a long time to build up that color, and still I feel like orange is in to like kind of make it stand out. I used the P. primer so that my colors could show up true to the palette, but I know that a lot of companies have a hard time making palettes that are pigmented enough to show up on dark skin, but this palette had a lot of pigmentation and it really did show up really great. So I don't think that these palettes are the same formula. Let's do a quick swatch here. We're gonna do the same colors so that we can like be fair. So they both have a Savage, so I'm gonna do the electric palette right here first. They both have a slow burn, which I use, so we should just... I'm so bad at swatching, whoa. And they both have a Chaos. So these are the electric palette right here. Now let's go into the wire. You see how those swatches are, the wire palettes swatches are like chalky, and the pigmentation does not stay through the whole swatch. And the electric palette, it's a clean swipe all the way through, great pigmentation. Refilmed it today, and obviously I came out with a great look, but it took a lot of blending and putting some muscle work into it. So if you're not trying to spend all day blending away to make your shadows pop, is the wire palette really for you? No, the wire palette does run for $39, but if you have the original electric palette, then I say stick with that one. I do love that the wire palette gives you matte shadows and a lot of pastels. The electric palette is primarily shimmer shades, and I think that's why I don't use it as much, because I love a good matte shade. I create a lot of looks with matte shades. I only use shimmers here and there, so I'm kind of disappointed in the pigmentation and you know how the swatches are. It takes a while to build it up. If this had the same formula of shadows in both palettes, this will be a banger, and I would love this palette to death. Palette on sale for $19, so will I be returning it? No, I definitely will keep it. I'm definitely going to use it and make it work, and know like every time I'm going to use it, I'm going to need some muscle grease and, you know, get in there. But the look is cute. You saw that I didn't solely use this. That's another thing. These palettes are not meant to have a transition or anything, so they really are meant to use with other palettes. So think about that if you're considering getting the wire palette or not. If you have your own commentary about how you felt about the wire palette, or maybe you own the electric palette and you think tell me why you love it down in the comments below. But for me, this palette has to get a 5 out of 10 for me. I love the presentation of it. The color scheme is really great. At this point, guys, this is the end of the video, and I really want to thank all of you guys for sticking in there with me and supporting and subscribing. Thank you guys for stopping in and hanging out with your girl for a little bit. Please remember to like, comment, share the video, and as always, subscribe.